Hey everyone, it's Sister Wives. It is Sister Wives, season 14, episode 9. This land is your land.
Or how I shouldn't have been a polygamist.
Or hers. Sorry, that was the name of the full title. I have to say something very serious. John, you may seldom hear this, but the commenters say you're right.
Usually am.
And based on this episode, I do have to agree, which is, I had said that maybe he was talking about Robin. I actually think Robin might be a better sister wife than Janelle, but Cody definitely feels that Janelle is a better sister wife. And after seeing this episode, it's 1,000% true. And the commenters made a lot of really great arguments, and I was never really against the idea, but I thought, how is Robin as the chosen one, the chosen wife? How is she not the one that he's blaming? But it's very clear to me that Cody despises Mary. And he's frankly sick of the other wives, except thinking that Mary should have any say in anything. And it was, I don't know if I've been this mad, probably a lot of times at the episode. Is Mary selfish? Possibly. Is she a little wiffle-waffly? Possibly. Would I absolutely have a cow and a half if my husband spoke to me the way he spoke about her? And if he did it not even to my face in a private conversation, but in a conversation with other people, especially other wives, like not like a therapy session, especially on TV, they could not build a doghouse big enough for me kicking your butt. I mean, could you imagine me talking that way about you?
But honey, he's just so tired of trying to please everybody.
Oh!
I mean,
if only there was some way to avoid having to please more than one wife.
He hasn't gotten his way in one whole thing in 14 seasons.
And essentially what I think this is he didn't get his one house and he's going to make everybody suffer for it. And Janelle is like, well, not me because I was on vote. And Christine's like, well, let's just say as little as possible because she already rocked the boat. And Robin is, I think, so there's been a lot of discussions in the comments. And this was Robin's move. There's a lot of evidence for that with her son going. But I don't think she's a good enough actress. I think this is real, genuine fury. And I understand it. He said, we're going to leave Vegas and we're going to get back together. And it's like now they're not even close to it. And now he's talking about...
He was close to being a genius.
Which is?
If they would have bought the Coyote Pass place and kept Vegas.
Well, that's the thing is...
Would have been a genius.
Now, his big push... Now, one of the things... This is where we get back to reality and the reality show. In general, I don't follow all the news because it's like, this has already taken over my life. Like, I need to just keep going outward. But a lot of people have said that part of the reason they had to sell Vegas was because of these balloon payments. If that is true, they should have just said it. They should have just said it on the show. Because then at least I would be like, okay, I get why you can't keep it. Because otherwise, the brilliant thing would be to keep the Vegas place and buy the Coyote Pass and then build out there eventually as they save up money and then move.
Even if it was balloon payments, I mean, the interest rates are still coming down, so they could have just refied. Okay, if that's what it really was. And they could have just limped along until the recession and then just not paid and renegotiated with the banks.
When the house was upside down.
Which is coming in a couple
of years.
And
I did hear someone say that they way overpaid for those houses.
Well, it sounds like it for how much they were trying to sell them for. And
I don't know. John was in title insurance, so this is not like every guy who thinks that they're a real estate mogul. This area you actually know quite a bit about. It was your job for a decade. So I just say that because everybody thinks they're a genius, and we are. No, but the point is that I think I would put money that Robin is genuinely pissed.
Seems that way.
Seems that way. So anyway, so let's go back. John was right. That's the beginning. They're now 9 months since the move, so they've got to be coming up on summer. So definitely spring because 6 weeks earlier was snow on the ground. Now it's not. Now admittedly high altitude areas, that could be any 6 weeks in the entire year. But so this fight is both incredibly dumb and incredibly important because it exemplifies the problem here, which is, they talk about, we make these decisions together. They did not. Janelle said, I wanted this one. And Janelle actually annoyed me a little bit this episode, but maybe it's just, I think it's because I got so frustrated with Cody that when Janelle was like, well, that's what I thought Mary said too. And I'm like, I saw the episode, and when I got, was it a little wishy-washy? Yeah. But the whole point is, Cody doesn't want to deal with her, so he doesn't have real conversations. He has the minimal conversation as possible, and then he's arranging everyone else. And like you said, he
doesn't want to work with everybody, honey.
Yeah.
He's only in.
Why should he have to do it?
How many marriages? I mean, why should he have to compromise anything?
And I think the key giveaway to understanding this episode, key thing
is that Cody went to what's the wife they moved for?
Robin
and Mary, and said the same thing. Oh, everybody else is chosen, you get this.
Yeah, somehow he managed to make them both feel terrible, somehow both be last choice. No, I did want to address one thing that came up in the comments. Yes, I had no idea that Kyle, the guy who came out, was...
Fuck that dude.
Ooh, excuse you, John.
Seriously, though.
No, but so if you didn't see the comments, he had domestic violence. He, like, crushed his wife's larynx. I had no idea.
Ex-wife.
Ex-wife. Well, I think she was his wife at the time.
Good friends Cody's got there.
I know. It's terrible. I would, if I just... No. Like, I want to go back and just delete anything I said about him because I feel like that's the only thing you need to address is... So anyway, let's move on. So I think the number one statement to remember to understand this statement is last week when the producer said, "Oh, it must be really nice to see your wives get along," and he was like, "No. It used to make me happy, but I don't care anymore," or something like that.
It sounds like he's over polygamy.
And so he does not want the wives.
Sounds like it was a poor choice.
He doesn't want to compromise anymore. He doesn't want his wives to get along anymore. And here's the thing: is Mary is one of his wives. Now, if he was to boot her out
in name only.
In name only, so she gets nothing, and it frustrates me because their religious situation ties her into this family so that she can't leave, which is a choice. I mean, this is a religion that she's in, but no one seems to take. They never seem to discuss this, except for when they said this wasn't really about the land. But it's like, for polygamists, is the idea that you just never discuss things, because it seems like they never talk at all. So it's a big deal that Robin has to move out, but then Mary says she has to move out, and it seems like I
don't like the way you're talking. Maybe I'll just go stay with my other wife a little bit.
Basically. Anyway, Cody wants Robin to buy. Robin does not want to buy, and I get what the market says, but the reality is they've already got all these mortgages. What money are they going to use to build houses with? I mean, that's how they got these balloon payments. I just don't know. So anyway, here's the piece of land. I'm not even going to worry about it because you probably have it burned into your retinas. So the problem wasn't the land. It was that he went to Robin. He went to Mary. We saw it on the camera, on the video. Mary was like, "I'm not totally sure if I want to be all the way back in the trees. I'm just not sure about that." So he went to Robin and said, "Well, Mary doesn't want this piece of property anymore. The property is not all in the woods, and you can cut trees." And so he said, "You have to switch."
Trees? They're not there forever?
So then he took Robin out to the property and was like, "Okay, everybody else is chosen." So somehow both Mary and Robin felt like they got last choice. And then he changed it up on Mary, and it had nothing to do with moving the property. It was the fact, instead of him just saying, "Oh my gosh, Mary, I'm so sorry. When you said this, I thought you meant this, and I thought I was doing this to help you." Like, instead of having a direct conversation, he just kept talking over her, because the goal wasn't to come to a resolution. It was to show how right he was, and he didn't want Mary. When it comes down to it, is that Mary gets nothing from this marriage in terms of emotional intimacy. And I don't even mean sex. I mean, we see what Cody really thinks of her when he talks about her, because she gets mad and leaves, Robin gets mad and leaves. A lot of people thought that Robin was being manipulative when she left and then came back and then had this conversation without Mary. I don't know. If so, she is so master level. But the thing for me is, I think she really is committed to this idea of polygamy. And so she's like, I can't just run off like a baby. She said she was embarrassed. I can kind of get that. That maybe, so I don't know. The commenters, let us know. You can tell me again that I'm wrong on this. But I think she genuinely came back to try to fix things.
She was POSing hard.
Well, she was, John, that is a joke. He is not that guy. You think you're so funny.
Oh, I wish we could have Rainn Wilson come in and say that right now.
I'll call her back later. So anyway, yeah, that was by the way, that was an office reference. And bonus points if you know what Office reference that is from.
Still not untrue, but yes, it
no,
was.
Anyway. No, but she was upset about a lot of other things, and who knows what else. But she went in hard on Cody. I mean, she was mad, and because he
was trying to rally the troops to his side against Mary, and it's like, dude.
And that's why it annoyed me when Janelle and Christine were like, well, we thought so too, and it's like, one, you didn't listen, and then we know how she treats Mary, because Mary's like, you guys can meet at my house, and no one responds.
That was like...
You can move in with me, no one responds.
Enough said from everybody.
So anyway, to me, the way that Cody spoke about Mary in front of the other wives is, I don't even really know what the term, bullying, a huge disrespect. I mean, it's a crack in the relationship that needs to be fixed.
Well, maybe he just needs to smack her. I mean, he has been hanging out with Kyle.
Oh gosh, don't even joke about that. No, but the point is that it is at the very least emotionally manipulative and derogatory for him to speak. So what he's like, she has always been like this. She just wants everybody to bow down to her. She flips and flops and treats you all, and was going on and on and on. And it really bothered me. Robin, of all people, I shouldn't say of all people because she's always been committed to it, but she hasn't been my favorite. She was like, you need to stop. You need to stop. That's not appropriate. I think maybe Christine and Janelle kind of made like a, kind of noise, but it wasn't super clear because it wasn't all on them, because it was like all on him having this massive tantrum.
Douchebaggery.
Because it's like, because Robin wanted to work it out, and he was like, I don't want to work it out with her. I don't want to, I mean, he might as well say, I don't want her around.
3 seasons ago.
Yeah, I mean, so...
But, I wonder how much he is hanging out with that douche. Like, bad company corrupts good morals. I'm not saying...
No, but I mean, yeah, if everybody...
But if he's hanging out a lot with Kyle, I mean, tell him how it is.
Yeah, I mean, well, apparently someone said Cody went and was a witness for him at trial, that he was a good character. So it's like, I don't know. So it really bothered me because it seemed like the main problem was Mary perfect in this? No. There was definitely some little like, well, you can tell her. But the idea is, the real attention, all of this should have been on Cody, been like, well, why would you, that's not what I said, and why did you, well, that's not what, and it was all about, he had managed to make both of them feel like they got last choice, and so each of them were like, well, I thought I was doing the right thing, you know what I mean, kind of making this work. It really bothered me. Now, if that hadn't happened, and if he had just right at the beginning been like, I am so sorry, I really thought this is what you wanted me to do, and
you would think
then it would be different.
After how many years of marriage to so many women, he would figure. He just doesn't care.
Well, right now he definitely doesn't care, and he's gonna let this all be. So then it cuts to Janelle and Christine, and Janelle's pushing for the pond. And I'll tell you, this is probably a situation where editing, because I was so over it. I was just like, I want to hear about this pond. The last thing I want to hear about. But that's not fair to Janelle, because she was really honest. She's like, I don't think Christine and I really got what happened, because we were no part of this conversation. They both assumed that Mary and Robin had talked, or Mary and Robin and Cody had talked. They assumed everything was okay. So I get why.
It's almost like, to make family decisions, you should have the family
together.
At least the adults.
So while I found it annoying, I don't actually blame them, because, although, can we talk about this pond? This is not this great of a pond. Am I being snooty? But I'm just kind of like...
There wouldn't take much to make it.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. They put a gazebo out there, they put some swings, a slide.
I was gonna say,
isn't it a runoff pond? So isn't it just
it
kind
is,
of like...
so you would need to like, do the
so you would
sheeting
need to
down
make it
below and then cover it with dirt,
okay.
And then it'll hold water all year.
So anyway, we cut to the next day, everyone's going to talk. No one can talk until Cody's there, which it kind of seems like at this point, maybe you should talk without Cody there. Because sure, it seems like it would have cleared up everything really quickly if Cody hadn't been there. But Cody comes in his little suit, and he's all excited because he's talked to his lawyer. And I can feel that he wants to be important. He wants to just invest in these things and sell it. And Robin about loses her mind, which I get, because she's got young kids. who all are cut off from their. Do you remember?
More than that, they had everything all the wives wanted in Vegas.
Yeah.
And he blew that to hell.
Yeah, and now it's like years and years and years. She's got all these young kids who, my guess, based on everything I've ever seen, young kids idolize their older cousins, siblings, aunts, and uncles. You had a cousin you looked up, a uncle you looked up to, and then your cousin looked up to you, and then the other cousin looked up to him. There's always like, there's this gap where, and I had older siblings, and but like, they're so perfect, they're cool teenagers, they do everything better than you, and I bet you her kids are really upset that they don't, these are the coolest people in the whole world, and they never get to see them.
Well, they could hang out at Mary's house.
No one wants to go there. But I mean, the idea is, I get it. She promised her kids. That was the big deal. This is going to be so awesome. When they left Vegas, they basically did the same thing. It is not working for them this time. And I will say, just to highlight a little point, this is a real problem with Airbnb and Vimeo and all those things, which is they take houses off the market, they make them short-term rentals, they're not accountable to any laws. If you do it, great. I mean, we've considered doing it, but there's becoming a real problem in a lot of areas because there's no places for the people that do things like work at the grocery store, work at the ski lofts, or tourists.
And this isn't everywhere, but some of the problems are just the stupid zoning laws. It's like, dude, I got so many acres, like, why can't I put another house up? Shove it up your butt.
That is exactly how housing zoning goes. Shove up your butt.
I mean,
anyway, no, but I mean, the whole point is that, and I think...
Let people own their property.
I think a lot of Cody's issue, besides the single house thing, which he's going to never forgive them for, is that this is not working and it is his fault. But it can't be his fault. It has to be everybody else's.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, Janelle, Robin and Mary are both need to move, and neither one can find a spot. And she made a joke about moving back to her bed and breakfast in Utah. I believe that's what
be the healthiest thing for her.
And they're like, don't even make that joke. And I know that stirs up all the stuff about Mary's going to leave. I don't get why they care so much. I mean, because it doesn't seem like they like her.
Right.
They don't seem to have conversations with her. They don't seem to have ever talked. Like, in 6 weeks, Mary and Robin haven't had one conversation that brought up the fact that they both thought they were going to be living on the same lot. They're not talking. I mean... But
they're all going to start hanging out at Mary's. Oh, wait. That's not how that went.
Anyway, so they basically... Oh, so he wants to sell this property as an investment. And I can see him thinking he's a big tycoon. You know what? He could have done that. He could have stayed in Vegas. But now they got 2 of those houses gone. I went and looked at housing in Wyoming, where he's from, and they could buy 4 houses for $500,000
for one of the houses that they're getting in. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. But they're stuck.
And then he could get a wife from his hometown.
And they could finally be home. No, but I mean, I do feel for him because the kids did not want to move. And they had this big payout. Well, we're all going to be back together on this really cool property. And now he's talking about selling it. I mean, this might genuinely be something that breaks the family.
If he was really smart, he'd buy another piece of property, put a damn apartment complex on it.
They could all have separate rooms.
If they're that, well, I mean, if Scottsdale is that.
Oh yeah, but like you mean like not for them to live in, just to sell. They do not have the money for that. They are barely. I mean, I don't know how they're going to pay their bills. Anyway, but Robin does not want to buy this house. She feels like, you know, he promised they'd all get back together, and buying a house is, in her mind, kind of a failure. I get his point, but at the same time, he has not lived up to any of his parts of the bargain. So I get why she's a little worried.
Well, Kyle will give him some good advice, I'm sure.
We're never going to mention him again. Okay, catch you guys next week.